Hello everyone! This video deals with how video games are made, the game design process. Let us start with defining what is game design. Game design is the process of creating a video game. Development is undertaken by a game developer, which may range from a single person to a large production business. Game development and design is a complex process. Building a game involves creating worlds and populating them with characters, objects, weapons, vehicles, flora, fauna, landscapes, and a myriad combination of real-life elements. It requires scheduling, planning, and creating a system of production. What are the different processes involved in game design? The game design process can be divided into three stages, that is, the pre-production, production, and post-production. The pre-production stage. Pre-production will take up around 20% of the game design process. It involves planning, mapping, scheduling, research, and gathering of resources for the production process ahead. What undertakings must be done under pre-production stage? First is the concept development. The core concept of the game is refined and expanded to articulate key elements such as the scope of the world, the mechanics of gameplay, the mapping of levels, character bios, complete storyline, and more. Brainstorming sessions are an important part of fleshing out the main idea of the game. This is a time for all the heads of departments to input their vision of what the game can be and to bounce ideas off each other based on their own unique concerns for the process. In the concept development, a library of characters, textures, and objects will be established and added to during the course of production. This is a resource vital to animators, 2D sprite artists, 3D modelers, and designers on the project. In addition, the game's objectives will be clearly defined, concept art will be signed off, and it will be firmly established within its genre. The storyline is fleshed out, the plot points, characters, story arcs, action sequences, climactic scenes, and more. Next process done under pre-production stage is storyboarding. The script is pre-visualized via storyboard. Each scene is sketched out showing character action, shot selection, the sequence of action, and cinematic direction. Another process involved in pre-production stage is research and development. Research and development, or R&D, is conducted into many areas. First, the demographics that describes who is the target audience, how to design to their playing style, and how to market to the intended audience. Second, production resources are explored, that is, the game software or game engine to be used, staffing requirements are established, and the budgets are fixed. And third, execution. What real-life resources will assist in creating the game? Will motion capture be required to assist in animation? And more. Next process in pre-production stage is the creation of the game development document. The game development document, or GDD, is the blueprint for the production process. This is the plan from which all departments will work, outlining the key elements. For example, what is the game all about and what is the point of it? What are the programming building blocks? What are the stages of the design process? And more. Another process in the pre-production stage is mapping. Here, the levels are mapped out across the course of the game. This is macro mapping, defining where the game is going, how it is played, how the player is led through it, and more. Moreover, a prototype must be produced. One or more rudimentary prototypes will be produced to see what works and what doesn't, if there are any bugs, and if the concept has legs. The testers give feedback on the gameplay to improve the final game product. The production stage. Production will take up about 60% of the design process. It is when the bulk of the work is done, it's all systems go, the animation, 3D modeling, programming teams all begin working in tandem. What undertakings must be done under the production stage? For 3D game designs, 3D modeling is one of the processes involved in the production stage. All the elements of the game are mapped onto a grid and rendered to 3D objects. This is a complex and time-consuming process, as all of the visual parts are often built from scratch. The level actions must also be defined in the production stage. The level action is blacked out, that is, how the action on each level plays out, micro-detailing of the action sequences and objectives of each level, and how the player is guided towards the next level. Animating game objects is also done in the production stage. All 3D elements are then animated through a sequence of movements or through a scene, and the storyboard is brought to life. For 2D games, the game sprites are animated. Another process in the production stage is texturing. Texturing is added to all the static meshes on the 3D models. Animators refer to the library of artifacts where textures have been designed and stored. Lighting is also done in the production stage. Lighting is an important element of design. It adds depth to the feel of the game, creating the 3D effect. It is used to create atmosphere, to build tension, and replicate the real world. The essence of interactivity is also done in the production stage. Here, the elements of function and interactivity are added. These are the intricate functions that the player must perform to progress in the game to keep them engaged and interested. Next process under the production stage is programming of the game's artificial intelligence or AI. AI is used to react to the actions or decisions that the player makes. It is the brain of the game, made up of complex algorithms that customize it for the player. Another process included in the production stage is the integration of the game's cinematics. Cinematics are short how-to segments instructing the player how to play. They can include hints, character info, maps, and more. They are usually an interlude from the game where the player is given extra information to assist them in their progress. The user interface in the form of heads-up displays and menus are also incorporated. Heads-up displays or HUDs update the player on their progress. They can provide information such as points and reward status, the timings, position on the map, and more. The menus instruct the player on the objectives, available elements, in-game purchase information, and more. The post-production stage. Post-production is all about the refinement of the game before its final release. What undertakings must be done under the post-production stage? The sound design and the game's visual effects are incorporated during the post-production stage. Sound design brings together all the dialogue, score, foley, and sound effects required for the game's soundscape. Visual effects or special effects are added to the sequences to enhance the visuals. Quality assurance is also done in the post-production stage. Quality assurance testers are brought in to test the rough draft of the final game. They push it to its limits and provide valuable feedback on its playability and any glitches that need smoothing over. The design game must also undergo in the refining process. That is, the feedback from the testers is applied. The sound and visuals are then given a final polish to refine the finished product. The refined game will then be packaged and marketed. The artwork from the game is used for creating packaging as well as marketing materials such as posters, online advertising, trailers, and more. Overall, the game design process is a complex one requiring many iterations of the overall aesthetic of the game. The design team will produce 3D animation, print art, 2D renderings, storyboards, trailers, and more. What characteristics does a well-designed game have? First, control. One of the biggest challenges of game development is designing controls that fit the game and enhance the experience. This means that players don't find themselves frustrated trying to perform certain actions or limited in any way. Second, interesting theme and visual style. Since graphics are what the player is seeing the entire time, developers need to make sure they match the game world as well as the style of the gameplay. Third, excellent sound and music. Video games need sound effects to make the virtual characters and the world feel more alive and realistic. At the same time, the game's soundtrack also plays a big part in evoking emotion from the player and heightening the experience. Fourth, captivating worlds. Unlike other forms of entertainment like film and television, games are interactive and thus have worlds that can be explored. Of course, people will only want to check out everything your world has to offer if there are things that catch their attention. This can be anything from cool settings and quests to rewards and challenges around every corner. Fifth, fun gameplay. Gameplay is arguably the most important aspect of a game. You can have breathtaking graphics and an enthralling storyline, but if the main game mechanics the player will be performing aren't fun, your project may as well have been a movie. Sixth, solid level design. The best games usually have great levels that serve to complement the game's main game mechanics. Well-planned levels will help push the story forward while keeping players engaged as they face new challenges. Seventh, memorable characters. Whether your game is heavy on narrative or not, you want to have characters that are not boring and forgettable. This means designing characters that are visually interesting, well written, and that the player can relate to. 8. Good balance of challenge and reward. Another challenge that all game designers face is finding the perfect balance of difficulty and reward. If you make a game too hard, then no one will play it due to frustration. But at the same time, having a game be too easy can bore players as well. The best games are fine-tuned to provide a good escalation of difficulty so players continue feeling challenged and rewarded. Ninth, entertaining story. Some of the best and most beloved games of all time are remembered for the stories they told. For whatever reason, humans love being touched, entertained, and encouraged by intriguing stories with memorable characters, plot twists, and more. Since games are interactive, they are also capable of serving as a storytelling medium that no other can compare to. And finally, something different. While following the same formula of another great game may seem like a good idea, it's the games that introduce something unique that catches everyone's attention. Every game designer should strive to create a game that offers a new experience that players can't get anywhere else, even if it means just adding a few tweaks to an already existing game or style of game. Thank you for learning with me, and watch out for the next learning and research support videos. Please support this channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons.